we'll get started. So the goal for today is we're going to do a lot of shoulder, chest, upper back, opening, and then also some hip mobility. So with that in mind, find a comfortable seat for us to get started. Anything that's comfortable to you. You can sit cross-legged or up on your shins. And we'll be here for a couple of minutes. So if you choose a seat that stops being comfortable, you can switch it around at any time. Once you find your comfortable seat, let your eyes flutter closed and start to notice your breath. Pay attention to your inhales and your exhales. Calm your mind. Try to set aside whatever it is that you were doing before you joined today. And also put out of your mind whatever you're going to after this. Focus on your breath, your body, here, now. Honor this time you set aside to be here today. As you continue to focus on your breath, do a full body scan. So with each breath, focus on a different part of your body and notice how it feels. So maybe you start with the top of your body. Start with your head, your neck, moving down to your shoulders, chest, back, torso. Notice where there might be tension or stiffness, any aches. And focus on the hips, your glutes, upper legs, moving down through the knees, calves, and all the way to your feet. Capture what you're feeling in your body, and we'll do that body scan again at the end. So think about how you feel now and where you'd like to loosen up any particular body parts you'd like to breathe into more deeply. And try to remember that as we start to practice. With your next inhale, we're going to do a few rounds of cleansing breath to start together. So let everything out, empty your belly out, excuse me. And then we'll inhale together. Fill the belly up, inhale deeply. And then exhale together, everything out your mouth. Again, with your inhale, fill the belly up. And exhale through your mouth. One more time together. Inhale deeply. And exhale. We're going to start to add some movement in now, but continue to focus on your breath. You can keep your eyes closed if you'd like, or let them flutter open. And with an inhale, bring your arms slowly up, reach towards the sky. And then exhale, arms back down by your sides. Inhale again, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale again, arms up. And this time, exhale your right arm down, slowly bending your body towards that right arm. And we'll hold here for a breath or two. As you inhale, lengthen your spine. And exhale, maybe bend a little deeper. You should feel this all along your side body, up your spine, into your neck. If you notice any tension, take another full round of breath into that tension. On your next inhale, come back to center, bring that right arm up to meet the left, and exhale to the left side. Same thing here, we'll hold this side stretch for a few breaths. With your breath, lengthen the spine on your inhale, and exhale, maybe you deepen the bend. Again, pay attention to where you feel tension. Breathe into that tension. And with your next inhale, come back to center. Bring your left arm up to meet the right. And exhale your arms into a cactus shape, finding a baby back bend here. Maybe your gaze goes up to the ceiling. Inhale up to center and do that one more time. Exhale with your breath into that cactus shape. Inhale up to center. And exhale your arms back down by your side. Now, rest your hands on maybe on your knees or on your legs in front of you, and we're gonna bend into our spine a little bit more intentionally here. Sort of like some seated cat-cow that goes all the way up through our necks. So on an inhale, maybe pull your legs forward to arch your spine, gaze goes up to the sky. And then on an exhale, round your spine up through the shoulders, chin to chest. Inhale into that cow shape. Exhale, arch the spine again, chin to chest. Go back and forth here a few more times with your breath. And notice how your spine feels. If it's better to stay static, breathe into each shape. Or find additional movement if that feels nice, maybe some side rotations. Really just waking up the spine and the neck. If you feel any specific tension in your neck, maybe add some gentle neck rolls. Paying attention to your breath, moving with your breath. And when you're ready, come back to neutral. Do a few gentle shoulder rolls to kind of flush it out. And then we're going to roll over into a tabletop position. So hands and knees on the mat. Everything should be at a right angle, shoulders directly over your wrists, hips directly over your knees, lower legs straight back, your tops of your feet can be on the mat, or if you want a little extra support, you can tuck your toes for stability here. And we're gonna do that same cat-cow movement in tabletop. So with your exhale, arch your spine, chin to chest. And on an inhale, come into cow, dropping the belly low, gaze to the sky. And again, move through this with your breath as it feels nice for your spine and your body. Maybe adding in some torso rolls, side movement, just like we were in our seat, but you should have a deeper range of spinal motion in this shape. So still really just waking up our spine. When you're ready, come to stillness. And with an inhale, make sure your right palm is firmly planted on the mat. And with an inhale, reach that left arm up to the sky. Try to keep your hips parallel. Rotate just with the torso. And gaze follows the left hand. On an exhale, curve your shoulder and reach your left hand through your right armpit. Thread that needle. And then inhale, rotate back open. Exhale, reach through your armpit. And again, inhale to open. Move back and forth here with your breath a few more times. And when you're ready, on an exhale, rest that left shoulder on the mat, left side of your head on the mat as well. And breathe here in a big shoulder opener rest. When you are resting in this shape, if you'd like to move your right hand out, extend it in front of you, you can. You might also add a bind here. You could raise the right arm up around your back, kind of grabbing your left hip crease. Whatever feels good and comfortable for your head, your spine. One more breath here. And on your next inhale, reach that left arm back up to the sky briefly before planting it next to the right. And we'll do that again on the right side. So on an inhale, reach your right arm up to the sky, gaze follows it. Exhale through the left armpit. Inhale, reach up to the sky. Flowing here with your breath, inhaling up to the sky and exhaling through your armpit. When you're ready for that rest, rest the right shoulder, the right side of the head on the mat, and the same arm options exist to you here. If you feel sturdy, reach that left arm out in front of you to add a side body stretch. You can also add that bind. Remembering to breathe. With your next inhale, unravel, reach that right arm up to the sky, briefly before planting it next to the left. And do one round of cat-cow here before we shift our focus to our hips a little bit. So come back to a neutral spine and lift your left knee up, keeping that right angle so your foot is parallel to the ceiling. And again, if you want to tuck your right toes for a little added stability, that's fine, whatever is comfortable. And we're going to do some big exaggerated hip circles here. So take that left knee out to the side of your body. You might hear your hip pop, mine just did. And then around all the way to the ground, very slowly, really opening into that hip before lifting it straight back up where we started. And then we'll go a few more times. So at your own pace, however deep, however wide you can or feels nice, remembering to breathe. And then switch directions. So now we'll start with the left knee hovering next to the right and open up and then rotate into that lifted right angle pose. With your next rotation, extend that left leg out long beside you and plant the foot off to the side of your mat. So you can't see mine, but you can't see that either. Just plant your foot, make sure your foot is, all four corners of your foot are making contact with the ground, and you should feel this kind of all underneath your left inner thigh and up through your glute. And then we're just going to find some gentle rocking movement forward to back to kind of flush out that hip a little bit from those big circles. So move in whatever speed or extension feels good to you and your hips. And then with your next breath, find a neutral spine, bring that left leg back into tabletop, and we'll do that all on the right side. So again, lift your right leg up, just like the left, keeping that perpendicular right angle, and we'll do those same hip circles. So gently bring the right leg out to the side, lower it down, and then lift it back up. Notice how your right side may be different than the left. And switch directions when you're ready. One more circle here. And then extend that right leg out long beside you before planting it off to the side of the mat. Make sure all four corners of your foot are touching the ground, engaged, and then find that gentle back and forth movement to flush out our hip. When you're ready, bring that right leg back in to meet the left for our tabletop. And we'll do one more round of cat-cow here. Breathing deeply into each shape. And then tuck your toes, lift your hips up into a downward facing dog. So maybe adjust your stance here, pedal out your feet slowly. Notice how your legs feel, how your hips feel, how your shoulders feel. Take a few breaths here. When you're ready, bring your right leg up to the sky for a three-legged dog. Bend your knee, bring it towards your nose slowly. Hold here, and then extend back into that three-legged dog. This time, bend your knee, bring it towards your right elbow. Hover here, then extend three-legged dog. Just warming up our core a little bit. One more time, bend your knee, and this time bring it towards your left elbow. Hover here, then extend three-legged dog. This time, bend your knee, bring it through the center, knee to nose, plant it between your hands, and drop your back knee, lifting up into a low runner's lunge. Breathe here. And then on an exhale, plant your hands, tuck your back toes, and bring that right leg back to a high plank. Lower here, you can lower your knees, your chest and chin, coming through to a low cobra pose. And then tuck your toes, lift your hips, come back into a downward facing dog. Again, pedal out your feet here, take a few breaths. And we'll go through that Vinyasa sequence on the left side. So when you're ready, lift your left leg to the sky, bend your knee, bring it towards your nose, hover, and extend. Bend your knee again, this time bring it towards your left elbow, and extend. One more time, bend it, come towards the right elbow, and extend. And then this time, bend your knee through knee to nose, plant your hand or plant your foot between your hands, drop the back knee, come up to that low runner's lunge. Breathing here. And with an exhale, plant your hands, tuck your back toes, come back to that high plank shape. And you can do knees, chest, and chin again, or you can go straight from high plank to low plank through chaturanga, lifting to upward facing dog, and then lift your hips to downward facing dog. When you reach downward facing dog, drop your knees and sink your hips back to a child's pose. You can keep your arms extended in front of you or bring them alongside your legs for a more restorative rest. We're going to begin moving through some sequences of standing poses with choose your own adventure vinyasas in the middle. If at any time you would like a break, you want to catch your breath, take a rest, child's pose is a great place to come for a reset. At any time you want to drop your hips back to your heels, you're welcome to do so. On an inhale, when you're ready, lift your hips back up, tuck your toes, come back to downward facing dog. And raise your right leg up to the sky. Bend your knee, bring it through, plant it between your hands. Drop your back knee and come into that runner's lunge again. Breathe here. On an exhale, plant your left hand next to that right foot and open up into a twisted lunge. You can keep your back knee dropped here, or if you want to add a little extra, you can tuck your back toes, lift that back knee. Remember to breathe here. On an exhale, bring that right hand down inside your right foot and maybe heel toe your foot out to the edge of the mat a little bit for a lizard pose. So again, you can keep your back knee dropped or you can lift your back knee here, whatever feels better for you. You should really feel this into your right hip. There are a few options here for some variations. You can stay where you are. You can come down to your forearms if that's available to you. If you want to deepen the stretch with your right leg, you can push your right knee away from your body, keeping that right foot flexed and engaged. You can also add a quad stretch on the left leg. Bend that knee, reach back around and grab the foot. We'll take a few more breaths here. With your next breath, unwind and come back to the basic lizard where we started. And then on an inhale, shift your hips back towards your left knee and straighten that right leg, flexing the right foot for a hamstring stretch. So you should feel this in kind of your whole right under leg. If you need to lengthen your stance a little bit, shimmy your right heel out further. You may also need to bring your right heel closer to your body, whatever works for you. And plant your hands on either side of your leg. Maybe you have your fingers tented. And breathe here. As you inhale, lengthen your spine. And with each exhale, maybe you can fold over that right leg a little bit. Keep your core engaged, try to keep your back straight and flat. And on your next inhale, slowly bend back into that right leg, planting the foot, bringing your hands on either side of your right foot, tuck your back toes, and bring that right foot back to high plank for your version of a vinyasa. We will meet in downward facing dog. Take a breath here. And when you're ready, bring your left leg to the sky. Bend your knee, bring it through knee to nose, plant it between your hands, and come up into that runner's lunge again. Breathe here. And on an exhale, plant your right hand next to that left foot, opening up into a twisted lunge. Again, you can keep that back knee planted, or you can tuck your toes, raise it up. You can also add an arm bind here if you want to twist your arm around behind your back. Whatever feels good for your hips and shoulders and spine. Remember to breathe. On an exhale, bring that left arm down on the inside of your left foot. Heel toe that foot to the edge of the mat for our lizard pose on this side. Again, the same variations exist for you here as they did on the other side, but remember, our bodies are not symmetrical, so you may choose a different modification on this side. You can add that quad stretch, come down to your forearms, deepen the hip stretch. Remember to keep your foot engaged. Remember to breathe. With your next breath, unravel. If you're in a bind, come back to the lizard where we started. And on an inhale, start to gently straighten that left leg, shifting your hips back and flexing into that left foot for our half splits pose. Adjust your stance as you need to. Plant your hands or tent your fingers. And breathe. Remember, as you inhale, lengthen your spine, and exhale, maybe you can fold over that extended left leg. With your next breath, slowly bend back into that left knee, shifting towards the front of your mat. Tuck your back toes. Bring the left foot back to a plank for your version of a vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet here. And when you're ready, bring your right leg to the sky. Bring your foot through, plant it between your hands, and come up into a high crescent lunge. So back knee is lifted here, really breathing into our left hip flexors. With your next breath, open up into a twisted high lunge. So arms at a T and rotate your torso to the right. If you want to add a little more support here, you can plant your left hand to the mat. You can also bring your hands to heart center and hook your left elbow on the outside of your right knee. Whatever variation works for you. And with your next inhale, bring that right arm around, rotate all the way, open up into a warrior two. So now you're facing the left, your back foot, your left foot is planted perpendicular to your right foot. Arms are in a T, gaze is forward over your right fingertips. Breathe here. With your next inhale, slowly hinge at the hips, reach forward. towards a side angle pose. When you can't reach anymore, drop that right arm, rest it on your right leg, and bring that left arm either straight up to the sky or maybe alongside your ear, whatever feels better for you. Remember to breathe here. Make sure you're not shrugging your shoulders up to your ears. Release any tension you're holding in the back. After a breath or two, if you'd like to add a bind here, you can. Bring that left arm behind your back. You can drop the right arm all the way to the mat or hook it all the way around your right leg and grasp your fingers behind your back. A few more breaths here. With your next inhale, hinge back at the hips, all the way to a reverse warrior. Keep the bend in that right knee. Left arm comes down alongside the left leg. Gaze up to the sky. And with your next exhale, cartwheel those hands down to the mat. Bring the right foot back to plank for your version of a vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Breathe here. And when you're ready, bring your left leg to the sky for that sequence on the left side. Bend your knee, bring it through, plant it between your hands. Come up into that high crescent lunge. Breathe here. Really breathe into that right hip flexor. And when you're ready, open up into our high twisted lunge here. Maybe just keeping your arms to a T. You can drop that right elbow, hook it around the left knee. Whatever variation works for you is great. And when you're ready with your next breath, unravel, open up into warrior two on this side. I'm gonna flip around just so you can see me. With an inhale, reach forward, hinging at the hips. When you can't reach anymore, drop that left arm. Rest it on your left leg. Bring that right arm up to the sky or alongside your right ear. If you want a little extra core engagement here, you can bring your left arm up to be parallel with the right. Wherever you are, remember to breathe. If you want to add that bind on this side, go for it. You can bring your right arm to the back of around your back and hook it in your left hip crease. Bring your left arm down to the mat and loop it around your leg, stopping at any point in that journey. If that feels good. When you're ready, unravel and hinge up at the hips into our reverse warrior shape. Bring that right arm, right hand down the right leg, keeping that bend in the front knee. Gaze up to the sky. We're going to add a little extra step on this side. So when you're ready, straighten that left leg and rotate your toes so that they are, so your feet are parallel and you're in a wide leg stance. So facing the long edge of your mat, legs are wide. You might point your heels in a little so your toes are slightly facing out, whatever feels nice for you. Make sure you're not locking your knees, but your legs should be mostly straight. Inhale, bring your arms up to the sky. And exhale, hinge at the hips and fold here. Try to keep your back flat. And when you get to a point where you can't hinge anymore without curving your spine, drop your hands. And then exhale intentionally into that deeper fold. We'll be here for a couple of breaths. So as you breathe, inhale, lengthen your spine, and exhale, maybe you can fold a little deeper. When you're ready, inhale, come up to a halfway lift and slowly walk those left hands towards the left foot. Frame that left foot. Bring it back to high plank for your version of a vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, slowly pedal out your feet. And as you're pedaling, walk your feet up to meet your hands and sink into a yogi squat. So to get there, you might want to move your heels of your feet out to the edges of your mat, however wide you need your stance to be, and then sink your hips low to the ground. Bring your arms to prayer pose in the middle, pushing your knees out away from you. Keep your spine as straight as possible here. Gaze out in front of you. Breathe. And then when you're ready, gently move back to your butt and roll along your spine. Grab your legs underneath your knees or behind your thighs and rock here a couple of times. When you're ready, find stillness, lying flat on your back. Drop your feet with your knees bent. We're going to do a few rounds of bridge here. So your feet should be not all the way up against your butt, but not far enough away that you can't touch them. So you should be able to feel your heels with your fingertips if you reach down. And you can have your feet touching, or they can be hips width distance apart, whatever feels better for you. Take a breath here. And then when you're ready, on an inhale, lift your hips to the sky. Maybe shimmy your shoulder blades underneath your body, keeping your core engaged, keeping your neck straight, gaze straight up. With your next exhale, slowly lower your spine. Maybe come onto your tippy toes to make that lowering easier, one vertebrae at a time. Windshield washer your legs back and forth, your knees, flush them out a little bit. And we'll do one more round of that. I'll cue bridge again, but if wheel is something you are interested in and can take it, go for it. So bring your hips back, or your feet, excuse me, back to their position close to your hips. And when you're ready, on an inhale, lift your hips up to the sky. Shimmy your shoulder blades underneath your body. Maybe this time link your palms behind your butt. Breathing here. Keep your legs engaged. Make sure your knees don't splay outward. Keep your core engaged. And when you're ready, lower one vertebrae at a time. Bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a big hug. Now we're going to do a figure 4 stretch. So drop your left foot into that same position where we just were for bridge. Straighten the right leg and then cross it over your left thigh in a figure 4 shape. So you can stay here, this is great. But if you want a little deeper, lift that left leg up and reach your hands through the figure 4, grabbing behind your left thigh. And at the same time, try to use your elbow to push your right knee away from you. Keep that left foot flexed and engaged. Keep your right ankle engaged. You should feel this in your right hip, in the back of your glute, kind of your whole upper right leg. Remember to breathe. When you're ready, we're going to move into a twist from this shape. So let your right leg cross all the way over your left. So they're kind of twisted. You can add an additional twist if that works for you. And then let both your legs in their twisted link up fall over to the left. Gently. Then extend your right arm out the opposite direction to the right. And let your gaze follow it. Breathe here. When you're ready, bring your legs back to center, unravel, give yourself a big hug, and set up for that on the other side. So plant your right foot, cross your left leg over the right thigh in that figure 4 shape. Staying here is great, but if you want a little deeper stretch, lift that right leg up, reach through, grab behind the right thigh. Use that left elbow to push the left thigh away from your body. Breathe here. When you're ready, release your hands, cross twist those legs, let your legs fall to the right side for a twist on this side. Reach the left arm to the left and let your gaze follow it. Remember to breathe. When you're ready, bring those legs back to center, unravel. Give yourself a big hug with both knees, maybe swaying side to side. And if there's any final movement that your body's craving, now is the time to do it. Otherwise, if you're ready for a rest, let your legs extend out long, arms by your side, and settle into our final resting pose. Let your eyes flutter closed. Let your breath deepen. Rest in stillness. Stay here for as long as you'd like, but if you're ready to be guided out, slowly bring movement into your toes, your fingers. Let that travel up your legs, your arms. Maybe reach your arms above your head for a full body stretch before slowly coming onto one side and lifting up into our comfortable seat again. You can keep your eyes closed here. And once you find your comfortable seat again, take another body scan. Start from the top and work your way down all the way to your toes, paying attention how you feel in each separate part of your body. What feels different than when we started? Where do you feel looser? Is there anywhere you're still holding tension? And when you're ready, we'll do one cleansing breath to close. So let everything out. Exhale all the way. And then inhale deeply, fill the belly up. And exhale everything through your mouth. Let your eyes flutter open. Thanks so much for coming. That's it. I appreciate